So you want to get jacked for the summer, right? It's now summertime. You want to be able to walk the streets with your shirt off and all the girls drooling all over you and all that shit. Well, let me tell you something. If you haven't been working out until now, you're fucked. This summer, you're not going to get shredded in about 3 months, April to like July, let's say. You're not going to get shredded in 3 months. You're going to build some muscle, but not enough to a point where it's impressive, to where girls will just look at you and can tell that you go to the gym. But you can do that for next year, a year and a few months, right? If you've never gone into the gym, considering that. However, I'm gonna give you the simplest guide to getting jacked in the shortest amount of time as well, by the way. So hit the like button on this video and let's get into it. So the first thing that you're gonna need to do is obviously go to the gym like 4 to 6 times a week. I believe that don't go 7 days a week. At least take that 1 day off for your cortisol to go down. Now there's a special supplement at the end of the video that I'm gonna talk about that lowers your cortisol. That cortisol is the stress hormone in your body, which if it's too high, it's gonna decrease your testosterone, which testosterone, it's the male hormone in your body. It also produces muscle building, and it does a lot of different stuff in your body that you need. So I'm gonna get into all of this later on as we go through this video, but take at least 1 day off, okay? But if you can go at least four, at the bare minimum 3 to 4 times if you're really busy, but go to the gym 4 to 6 times a week. And even if you can't go to the gym, calisthenics, do push-ups, squats, sit-ups, and do a lot of them, and pull-ups, and train at home if you can, if you have some weights, or if you have what you can do, what prisoners a lot of times do. They take a stick broom, they put a 2-liter bottle of water on one side, on both sides. They put like 4 of them, 6 of them, and they do bicep curls with those. They do fucking overhead presses with those. You know, they do all that shit. Considering that you're really broke and you can't afford a $50 a month, which is gym membership, which is stupid. You have that money, you're spending it on bullshit. I'm not gonna get into all the excuses because that will make this video way too long. When you do go to the gym, be social. Get a gym bro, get a friend. Because when you train with other dudes, obviously your test goes up, but the second thing is you push each other harder, to train harder, to failure, to 1 more rep. Come on, bro, you got 1 more, 2 more in them. So you're gonna train harder, which stimulates your muscles more and they will grow more. Trust me, you push yourself so much harder when another dude is pushing you to get that 1 last rep in. And he does that over a period of time. It stacks up. Don't train with your girl, okay? Don't train with women. They train like pussies because they have pussies between their legs. So obviously they're not going to train hard. But obviously speak to girls in the gym too. But don't be that guy that speaks to every girl at the gym. Focus on your workout. And if you see a girl taking up a machine that you want to take, ask her to work in with her and just start a conversation or do whatever, you know. This video is not about girls. I don't know how the fuck did I get into this. Another thing that you should do is fast for 12 to 16 hours every single day, 7 days a week, okay? If you're fat, okay, if you're skinny and you need to bulk up, I'm gonna get into that soon enough. But if you're fat, or if you just want to get that shredded 6-pack, etc., the thing that worked for me, that I lost 45 pounds in like 4 months, is I fasted every single day for 12 to 16 hours of the day. So if you go to school, you can just fast all morning and the whole time that you're in school, go to the gym, and after the gym have your first meal at around 6 p.m. or whatever time. Have like 1 to 2 meals a day if you're trying to cut down. And I'm going to talk about what you should be eating. But if you're trying to cut down, don't eat anything for the first half of the day, because that makes your body more fat adapted, more ketogenic. Also, especially if you're gonna take on the next point, which is eat low carbs, below 50 grams a day, below 30 grams a day, even 20 grams of carbs a day. Like if you get below that, you're gonna be on the keto diet. Your body will not be running on carbs and on glycogen stores. Your body will start running on ketones, which is important because as soon as you start eating a lot of carbs and you don't use all that energy during the day, well, that gets stored as the fat on your body. And if you're very fat, here it is. So we are going to have to give up the Snickers bars, all the sugars, okay? You're going to have to give them up if you want to get that six-pack. Whatever you want more, that slice of pizza, which has like fucking 20 grams of carbs in just one slice, maybe even more, or do you want the six-pack and the bitches and all of that? If you want to get laid, you're going to have to give up the pizzas for a while, buddy. And as soon as you don't eat that shit for a year, 2 years, you don't even crave it. You don't even want it, bro. If my friend offered me a slice of pizza, I would say just no, man. Because I wouldn't have the appetite for it. Because a ribeye steak is more tasty to me right now. So you're going to eat below, at least at the very max, 50 grams a day. But ideally even lower, okay? And you're going to be fasting for the first half of the day. Now, what you should be eating. My ideal diet would be eggs. Eat like 6 to 12 eggs a day. Why? Because they boost your testosterone. So if you can eat like 6 to 12 eggs a day, yes, it is. Cholesterol is what produces testosterone in the first place. You can Google that, the relationship between cholesterol and testosterone. So you need cholesterol in your body. And eat, and this is going to be slightly controversial, but eat half a kilo to a kilo and a half of beef a day. Today, I have ate about 1.1 kilos of beef today. Now, I'm not fasting daily anymore because I'm trying to gain weight, but I'm also trying to gain it without eating carbs, right? Now, for the bulking season, I'm going to get into this right now. Obviously, we're going to eat all throughout the day. In the morning, lunch, dinner, you're going to have like 4, 5, 6 meals a day. And you could have even some snacks between those. The ideal snacks or like even foods that you should eat is, first of all, cashew nuts. Yes, they have quite a lot of carbs, but when you're trying to gain weight, not to get shredded, that's not going to be that much of a problem. But cashew nuts have a shit ton of calories, okay? You can just look at the back of it. They have so many calories. And the second thing is camembert cheese. You can Google this type of cheese, but camembert cheese, it has also a fair amount of calories, and if you eat like 4 of those a day alongside your other meals and maybe 1 pack of cashew nuts, you're gonna be in a surplus, most probably. Especially if you're skinny, you're easily gonna be in a surplus. And also, when you eat the beef, you should eat ground beef and rice. That's like an easy high calorie, high protein meal. So that's another thing. Speaking of protein, 1 to 2 grams of protein per pound of body weight. But on this diet, it's gonna be pretty easy. Please, for the love of God, don't take any of those fucking mass gainers, protein shakes, all of that stuff. If they're unflavored and they don't have that many ingredients, maybe, but realistically on this diet, you won't even need it, to be honest. And before you say it, oh, I can't afford to eat that much beef every day. I can't afford cashew nuts and camembert cheese. If you can't afford it, get a fucking job, dude. Get a fucking part-time job or even a full-time job and fucking invest in your own health. Depending on how much you want it, okay? If you're okay with keeping your fucking beer gut and all of that, then don't. Don't listen to me. Click on this fucking video. I'm only talking to the people who are actually committed to this. Also, speaking of beer bellies, no alcohol, okay? Alcohol are diuretics. They dehydrate you. You need to be hydrated, okay? You should not be drinking alcohol. It's just empty calories. No alcohol, for the love of God. Another thing is avoid endocrine disruptors. What are endocrine disruptors? This is like more of a niche topic. But endocrine system is your hormonal system. So it's what controls your testosterone, estrogen, prolactin, cortisol, all the different hormones. Endocrine disruptor is something that just disrupts the whole system. That your estrogen spikes up for no reason, or it crashes your test most often. And usually it's tap water, not only because of the heavy metals, but because of the birth control pill. So when women piss the birth control pill, your city, the filters cannot filter out hormones. So you're basically drinking birth control. The first time I heard this was from Hamza, and then I researched it myself, and I found out that he was fucking right about this thing. Tap water is literally like poison. Don't fucking drink tap water. You're literally turning yourself into a woman. Imagine what would happen to a man if he just started taking birth control. what will happen to a man if you start taking birth control? That's a mega endocrine disruptor. Don't fucking do that. Microplastics is another thing, right? So, listen, the way you fix this is either, well, you should stop drinking from plastic water bottles. You can start drinking from stainless steel water bottles, or ideally, you can start drinking from glass bottles, which is sparkling water. Because if you drink sparkling water from the store in a glass bottle, you have no microplastics in it. And the sparkling water can be from the tap water. So you're basically protecting yourself away from the two biggest endocrine disruptors. And another endocrine disruptor that you should be looking out for is aluminum. Okay, so aluminum, you have a lot of foods that are packaged in aluminum. But the thing you might not know is that in a lot of fragrances and in a lot of deodorants, you got aluminum. In that Old Spice deodorant that smells so good, you probably have aluminum in that one. So what do? Do you just smell like an Indian? No, you don't do that. There are a lot of deodorants that don't have aluminum in them. For example, there's this one brand, I believe, Salt and Stone, I believe it's called, something like that. I know that they make pretty organic deodorants that are pretty safe from aluminum and from some endocrine disruptors. Maybe look into those. Maybe look into all the different types of deodorants that don't have endocrine disruptors in them. They're usually like 2 to 3 times more expensive. But again, get a job, get a side hustle, start making some money online, get your money up so you can invest in your health, okay? Another thing that you should be looking over is obviously your sleep. Okay, you need to sleep because of the main biggest reasons. First of all, it's testosterone. Your test is gonna go down if you don't get regular, proper sleep. That's the first thing. So your test will go down, and your HGH, your human growth hormone. Now, especially if you're a teenager watching this, you need HGH, human growth hormone. Basically, you grow. So if you're like fucking 5'4" right now and you're 15 years old. If you want to get to 6 feet, if you want to get to 5'10" at least by the time you're 21, you better sleep 8 hours. Because human growth hormone, if you don't get yourself enough sleep, you don't get enough HGH in your body, you might not grow. You might not grow very tall, okay? You're limiting your potential. So get enough sleep. Now, speaking of supplements, I'm going to give this disclaimer. Supplements, you don't necessarily need to take them if you're living a healthy lifestyle, if you're eating enough. And supplements, usually you should start taking after a while in the gym, but they are supplementary, right? They make it your progress even better, but you don't need them. However, I'm going to give you a couple of them. Zinc is a very good one. Your test goes down if you don't have enough zinc in your body, so zinc is a very important one. Vitamin D3, or vitamin D, basically. 10 to 15,000 IUs a day. I used to take even like 20,000 IUs per day and I was fine. But I heard some studies say that can be toxic. So I don't know, but I don't want to give you something that might be dangerous for you. So like 10,000 to 15,000 IU vitamin D per day. That will increase your testosterone a lot. Vitamin C, it's that supplement that it decreases your cortisol. Ashwagandha can do the same thing, but I personally prefer vitamin C. So vitamin C decreases cortisol, the stress hormones, which lowers your test. So meaning you don't have any test crashing hormone like cortisol, or it's limited, right? So that's very important. Another thing that I should tell you probably in terms of cardio, don't jog. Either walk or do the Stairmaster or sprint, because that increases your adrenaline. However, when you jog, you're increasing your cortisol, which then decreases your test. So either walk or sprint, or do Stairmaster or any other type of cardio, like boxing, for example, or any other type of cardio. But don't jog. Jogging is the worst type of cardio that you can do. Another thing is creatine, 5 to 10 grams a day. That's what I would recommend. However, you can get creatine if you eat enough beef a day. However, I will tell you to still supplement creatine if you can, okay? At least 5 grams, but even 10 grams a day. So even if you get like a total of 10 to 15 grams of creatine a day, you might think that that's too much because all these fitness influencers tell you to get 5 grams a day. But the thing is, those studies that tell you that you should be getting 5 grams of creatine per day are made based on the average person with no skeletal muscle on them. Which, if that's you, then take only like 5 grams a day, sure. But if you've been going to the gym for a year or two and you have some muscle on you, take 10. Okay, that would be my advice, really, to be honest. So, anyways, I've been trying to sum this up as quickly as possible. We're just under 20 minutes. I'm gonna see how long this video will be as soon as I edit it up. So hopefully I can get it in about 15 to 20 minute range. However, I will make an hour or an hour and a half guide to how to get shredded and jacked and lose the belly fat, get the six pack, but also get a fair amount of muscle. So stay tuned for that one. That will come in the future, either on the main channel or on the second channel. I'm not even sure on which of the channels should this video come on. But anyways, with this in mind, may God bless you. I'll catch you on the next one.